miss the feeling.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For Total Pest Control for your home or business, call the original Salvant.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Exiles from what you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now, we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hello and welcome to the Monday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Here's hoping that your weekend was as good as it possibly could be, considering all that we've gone through with Hurricane Laura and the like. Speaking of Hurricane Laura, as you all well know by now, disasters like this bring out the best in humanity and the worst in humanity. I am so proud to say that the best of humanity is exemplified by a Louisiana and a Baton Rouge-based organization, the United Cajun Navy. Joining us on the ground to start today's show is the founder of the United Cajun Navy, a friend to the show and a friend to folks affected everywhere, Todd Terrell. Todd, good morning, and how are you, my friend?
Clarence, we're doing good. This is a mess. This is probably the worst disaster that I've ever seen, and this goes back to Katrina.
Wow. So what does it look like in Lake Charles and the areas where you've been so far, Todd?
It's devastated, and it's so widespread. This thing goes all the way from Cameron, Holly Beach on the Gulf, all the way up to Arkansas, and it's pretty widespread. The problem is a lot of the areas that were affected are smaller areas, and it's hard to get relief into those areas.
Right. So what there do folks need most? And what about search and rescue personnel? What do they need most, and what do the citizens there need most?
The hard portion about it is right now is with the coronavirus and the COVID issue right now is a lot of organizations are having to really watch what they're doing.
Right.
There's so many volunteers that are in here to help. Fuel is at a premium. Water and just your basic supplies are at a premium right now. Housing is going to be a really big problem for volunteers coming in to help do disaster relief.
Right.
But right now, the main thing that we need are basics: water, snacks, diapers, baby stuff is getting to be really important. We actually did 6 airdrops with planes starting Saturday, and we've done probably 20 to 25 airdrops because the traffic is so bad. We can actually drop stuff out of planes into these areas faster than we can drive in trucks.
Wow. You've seen, Todd, because of your starting of the United Cajun Navy, more damage from disasters than most of us can imagine. How does Laura's damage stack up against the others that the United Cajun Navy has assisted in recovering from?
After flying over the area Saturday, this could go down as one of the biggest, if not the biggest, disaster in American history.
Wow. Wow.
And you got to remember, this storm started just 24 hours 24 hours before it became a major hurricane, it was a tropical storm.
Right.
So this thing, it wasn't like a lot of people could prepare in such a big way. The good news is it appears as though the overwhelming majority of people took heed to the warning 48 hours ahead of time and got out of the area that was really affected. I think we saw less surge than was expected, but I think we saw a lot higher wind.
How did the United Cajun Navy prepare for this? As you mentioned, 24 hours before landfall, we thought it wasn't going to be all that bad. And then all of a sudden, we got the warnings that this thing could strengthen. Logistically, how tough was that to prepare for the United Cajun Navy?
Well, for us, we had a lot of things that we've taken from the past, food being the main one. We were working with a couple companies that had food that was frozen in 5 and 10 pound bags that was prepared. All we had to do was heat it up, boil it, and serve it.
Right.
So from a food standpoint, we were ready for that. Supply standpoint, we're based in Baton Rouge, and we were ready to take care of the New Orleans area east. So all we did was had to change our logistics from New Orleans, to the western part of the state.
Right.
So we were prepared for this thing about as good as we can be. Right now, we're moving probably 10 to 12 semis a day out of Baton Rouge worth of relief effort.
Wow.
We could probably double that. We need help with trailers and trucks. We need people coming to Baton Rouge to pick up supplies to help bring into these areas for us.
For folks that really want to help, and there's been all sorts of Cajun Navy operations and the like that have sprung up, and people co-opting the name and so on and so forth. Nothing against those other folks, but for my money, the United Cajun Navy is the organization that I'd like to steer people to help. What do you need most, and how can people go about getting their resources to the United Cajun Navy, Todd?
Well, we appreciate that, and there's some very good organizations out there that we work with. We have a Facebook page, United Cajun Navy. At the very top of that is a donate button. You can go to our website, www.unitedcajunnavy.org. You can volunteer. There's a donate button, or you can sign up, request for assistance. That's the main thing. Right now, Healing Place Church in Baton Rouge, on Highland Road, and Healing Place in Denham Springs is where we're getting people to bring supplies to. There's many other organizations that are involved in this as well. We're also working with Broussard Companies Trucking in Gramercy, Louisiana.
Okay.
They have a location for a drop-off there. There's locations in Florida. Everybody's chipping together on this thing. The good news is a lot of the funds that we're getting coming in, 90% of the money we're getting coming in now we're using for fuel and trucking. The other 10% is for rentals of equipment. But we're using, none of our money goes to overhead for employees. We don't have any employees. We're strictly volunteers.
And speaking of those volunteers, obviously now that Laura has come ashore, has cleared out, you're back dealing again with the heat and the humidity and the brutal South Louisiana summer conditions. How are those volunteers holding up, Todd?
It's very tough. In fact, this is probably the toughest we've dealt with. Hurricane Michael, for instance, was close to the beach. So a lot of people they wasn't complaining about the heat as much, I think, because they were subliminally thinking it's by the beach that it's okay. We kind of make a joke about it, but it's hot. The mosquitoes are bad. A lot of these people aren't used to dealing with our mosquitoes down here.
Right.
So, it's a mess right now. Ice, we're having trouble getting ice because of refrigerated trucks. It's just a mess. So whatever people can do, we need help. We need volunteers. Baton Rouge, we need help sorting through supplies that are coming in. So if anybody can help, please, we need to help bad.
You mentioned early on this happened obviously at the worst possible time because you're also dealing with COVID-19. How do you guys stand as far as PPE and things that you need to keep the volunteers safe from COVID-19?
Well, we were kind of prepared for that as far as masks and sanitizer and stuff. Of course, right now we could always use stuff. If people are wanting to donate, we're more likely to get non-PPE stuff right now because we're good with it. But right now, the main thing we need is funds to be able to pay for the fuel and trucking on these companies.
And if you would, once again, tell folks how they can donate to the United Cajun Navy and your awesome efforts, Todd.
They can go to www.unitedcajunnavy.org. There's a donate button there. They can also volunteer, sign up to volunteer, or request assistance. or they can go to our Facebook page. At the very top is the donate button.
Fantastic. Todd Terrell, founder of the United Cajun Navy. On behalf of a grateful Louisiana, thank you, my friend, for all that you guys and girls are doing there. And do us all a huge favor and stay safe, Todd.
And NASCAR James said to tell you, hey.
Tell him boogity, boogity, boogity. That's my man. Thank you, Todd.
Thanks a lot. Thank y'all.
You're quite welcome. Wow. NASCAR James. I should have known that he'd be down there helping. Folks here in Louisiana, particularly the southern part of the state, we are all too familiar with what the folks in Cameron, Calcasieu, the whole affected area, what they're going through. And it's times like these where, again, we get to see the best that humanity has to offer, and of course we get to see the worst that humanity has to offer. Still to come at the bottom half of today's show, we'll talk about some of the worst, the scammers that are out in full force, and how we can all protect ourselves and our loved ones from being victimized twice. But it is, again, something that we are all so familiar with here in South Louisiana. And the fact of the matter is, we are just now getting into the, quote, heart of hurricane season. And on any given day, any given week, any given weekend, there but by the grace of God, go us. So, again, we never, and this has been my mantra through 4 decades of broadcasting, I never ask that you give until it hurts. All we ask is that you give. Those folks there, you heard Todd say, this is the worst he's ever seen. And this is from a guy who's been through every storm, major disaster, from well before Superstorm Sandy, Katrina, Michael, now Laura, and all of the storms packaged in between. And if you know anything about Todd, you know that he's not one that is prone to sensationalize something. If Todd Terrell, founder of the United Cajun Navy, tells you, Clarence, this is the worst I've seen, you can take that as gospel. If he tells you that, it truly is just that bad. And again, living where we live, choosing to live where we live, this time of year, go back a few months, look ahead a few months. God only knows when the next one might be staring us down the barrel of the proverbial gun. If you can, if your spirit moves you to, please be so kind as to make that donation. There are a lot of charities out there, but as you heard Todd say, all of their money goes to logistics. All of the folks there are volunteers. And in these days and times where a lot of folks are real conscious about how much they have to give, what resources they have to give, you want to give it to organizations that you know are going to use it the way it is intended to be used. UnitedCajunNavy.org. They're good people. They've got a great mission, and they're there when people need them. Kind of sounds like South Louisiana as a whole, does it not? Just saying. We need to get our first break of hour 1 of the Monday edition of the Clarence Bugg Show out of the way. We'll do that, and we'll talk more with you right where you've got it, here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wages wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
That's right, the Clarence Bug Show is back. Along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together. South Louisiana's talk team. And it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon right here on the Pelican.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Mandafine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Mandafine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Mandafine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Welcome back to hour one of the Monday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Which one, Marty? That one. That one. There you go. There you go. Here's hoping that your weekend was a good one. And for the first time in 20 years, I'm going to make an addendum. Typically, every Monday, you will hear me say, and this is true for both radio and TV, here's hoping that your weekend was an absolutely fabulous one. If not, well, as we like to say, each and every Monday, right about this time of the day, good Lord willing, you'll still be here when the next one rolls our way and you have the opportunity to try it all over again. That still holds true, obviously. But as an addendum, particularly for the folks that are some visiting, some stranded, some still sheltering from the great area of southwest Louisiana, the Lake Charles area, those of you so very adversely affected by Hurricane Laura. Our prayers, our well wishes, and all the resources at our disposal are here for you. And, you know, it's one of those situations where we've seen this happen so many times, and we know the hearts of our fellow South Louisianians in general, but particularly I point out the southern part of the state because traditionally we are more adversely affected by hurricanes and storms and things of that nature. While you may take some solace, some comfort in seeing it in action, you can never hear it enough times. And for those out there that are heartbroken because COVID-19 has put you in a situation where you're not able to give monetary resources like you typically do when a part of our state is ravaged by a hurricane. If nothing else, if you are a member of the community of faith, I'm fairly comfortable in saying that those good folks affected by Laura would not mind in the least if you're not able to give money, but you are able to send up lots of prayers on their behalf. God knows they need it. And the good thing about the God that we love and serve is that he hears the prayers of his children. And if you don't have resources to give, I'm sure the people there understand it. They would be eternally grateful if you were to simply send up prayers on their behalf. You know, it's a part of the human experience that as we go through life, if we are so fortunate as to stick around a while, we notice how things in society change. I often reference one of my favorite songs, "Everything Must Change. Nothing remains the same." And if you are a student of humanity, if you watch society, and if you're blessed to stay around long enough, you start to see the authenticity of that message. You know things are going to change because everything must change and nothing remains the same. It doesn't change the fact that when you witness the change, that it bothers you. As you get older, understanding things are going to change, you hope that things are going to change for the better. And sadly, and you know, at 62 years of age, I don't want to sound like that guy, the get off my lawn guy. But there are things in this country, in our society, that are going by the wayside that are truly troubling. Things that in all these years of existence in the United States of America have served us well, have allowed us to become the exceptional country that we are, despite what some people would have you believe. Things that have allowed us to help one another, to prosper, and to be who we want to be. I don't know how many of you saw this disgusting and disturbing story out of New York. Subway platform in Manhattan. Young woman there is assaulted, broad daylight. A guy there attempts to rape this woman on a subway platform. And the number of people that were standing around filming it with their cell phones, as opposed to beating the holy you-know-what out of this guy, disturbed me to no end. Now listen, I know one of the things that separates us from the rest of the animal kingdom is our ability to reason. We can make ourselves believe pretty much whatever we want to believe. Well, Clarence, you got to understand, they were filming this because they wanted to be sure that they had a record so that they could help the cops catch this guy. Well, I will leave to you to decide how many people needed to film it to be able to catch this guy. But I will tell you this, two things. One, police, in arresting Jose Reyes, R-E-Y-E-S, Reyes, whatever this piece of you-know-what pronounces his last name. Police didn't use cell phone video to arrest this guy Sunday. They used facial recognition technology from the cameras in the subway. But I have to think, As a baby boomer, obviously, my parents were members of the greatest generation. I don't have to think long, and I don't have to think very hard to imagine what would have happened to this guy had he decided in broad daylight, out in public, to throw a woman down, get on top of her, and try to rape her in a public place. Even if they would have had cell phones with high definition 4K cameras in them and all this sorts of stuff back then, you might have had one or two people that would have said, wow, I need to record this so that, you know, the cops know who to look for. The other 99.76% of the guys standing on that platform would have placed a 911 call. Manhattan, 911, what's the nature of your emergency? Yeah, there's a guy here that tried to rape a woman on the subway platform. Hang on a second. Yeah, we're standing at platform 4E. Okay, is the perpetrator still there? Yes, ma'am, still there. Do you need police or ambulance? No. You need police or ambulance? No. Well, sir, you said there's a crime that was happening and this guy's on top of a woman trying to rape her. Do you need police or an ambulance? No. Might want to send the coroner, but we don't need the police and we don't need an ambulance because this fool ain't going anywhere anytime soon. You follow me? What in God's name is going on with the people in our country? And all these folks had to do is imagine, what if that were my mom? What if that was my grandmother? What if that was my aunt? What if that was my daughter? Would you want someone standing there, able-bodied male, would you want them to take out their cell phone, or would you want them to step in and beat the, ooh, I wish this was not a family-oriented show, you know what, out of this clown? What is going on with us? And at the end of the day, how we react to things sends a message to the rest of society. Example, when crime happens in your neighborhood and you refuse to pick up the phone and call Crime Stoppers, you refuse to pick up the phone and call the police and give them all the information you know, you are sending a message to the criminals. You're sending a message that we don't care enough about where we live. We don't care enough about our own safety. We don't care enough about the safety of the other folks that live where we live. So y'all just go ahead and do what you want. I'm just going to say a couple of Hail Marys and hope I'm not the next victim. That's the message that we send. Conversely, had Jose Reyes, whomever, had he gotten the you-know-what beat out of his sorry behind, the message would have been sent to the next fool that might be considering doing the same thing. Whoop, I better back up because these folks here ain't going to stand for that. You see how that works? Yeah, but Clarence, you got to understand, people in these communities, they live in fear. Well, how in God's name do you ever expect to get rid of that? You've got to send a message. All these folks with the cell phones out videoing, had the video gone viral of this guy getting his bleep whipped, that would have sent a message. And the next clown, considering doing something like this, you may well have prevented someone else's mom, daughter, aunt, wife from being victimized in the same way. land of the free, home of the we'll get it on cell phone. Really, America? Really? Speaking of the worst of humanity, bottom of the hour break, Carmen Million will tell us next how we can protect ourselves from other low-life scum trying to take advantage of people in the wake of Hurricane Laura. That's next on Hour 1 of the Clarence Bugg Show. Here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Jaguar Nation, we need your help in masking up Louisiana.
Masks help us slow the spread of COVID-19.
During this time, we must continue to wear a mask. Wash your hands and practice social distancing.
It's important that we continue to abide by the CDC's guidelines to stop the spread.
Jaguar Nation, we challenge you to mask up. Go Jags!
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvant.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Welcome back to Hour 1 of the Monday edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. You know, it's a part of the human experience, and I know it's redundant because you hear me say it all the time. But the fact of the matter is, it's true. When we witness disasters, particularly hurricanes, really bad storms, 2016, things of that nature, we find that 180-degree shift in the human experience. We get to witness the best that humanity has to offer, like Todd Terrell and the United Cajun Navy that we started the show with. And we also, sadly, get to see the worst that humanity has to offer, / storm chasers and scam artists. Joining us for this segment is Carmen Million, the president and CEO of the Better Business Bureau of South Central Louisiana. Carmen, good morning, and how are you today, my friend?
Good morning, Clarence. I'm fine. It's great. Busy, but
but good.
Yeah, I can imagine you and the good folks at the BBB of South Central Louisiana are earning your money these days, because the storm chasers are out, I'm sure, in full force after Hurricane Laura. How do we stop from being victimized twice?
Well, and that's the most important thing, is to understand that you've already been a victim of a hurricane, and so you have to protect yourself from being a victim again. And I'm from the Lake Charles area, so this is my hometown, and what we're trying to let the consumers know out there is that they have to protect themselves. First and foremost, there's a process they have to go through. They have to make sure that their family is safe. They need to then make sure they talk to their insurance company, and they need to be very careful about allowing somebody that they don't know and is not a local company on their property. And the reason it's so important is, if these are just what we call storm chasers and fly-by-nighters, they're going to try to take your money, and then if they get hurt on your property, then it's only going to be worse.
How important is it, Carmen, to not succumb to, quote, the emotion of the moment? I'm picturing in my mind a homeowner standing there looking at their property that's so severely damaged, and someone walks up and says, hi, I'm sorry about what you're dealing with, but I work with X and X roof repair company, and we'd love to have your business. We'll do a great job, but we're only in the area today, and other homeowners, we got a long list of people to deal with, so you need to sign up with us as soon as possible to get this great deal that we're offering right now. That homeowner, in their mind, now has added pressure on them to hurry up and do something, so that they don't find themselves at the back of the line, elongating, exacerbating the recovery process. How important is it not to succumb to the emotion of the moment?
The hardest thing that we can advise consumers, but it's the best advice we can give them, is never let fear and desperation have you make a bad decision, a spur-of-the-moment decision that may end up costing you more time and more troubles in the future. And I can tell you, most of, not all of my family members' homes are devastated, and they have been contacted by some of these people, and they're being told, we can take care of this now, but we need money up front.
Right.
There's so many things that consumers need to be aware of. First and foremost, don't make a bad decision. Call your insurance company. Make that company that knocks on your door provide you with proof of licensing, proof of insurance, documentation that they are a legitimate business.
Right.
And then contact the Better Business Bureau. You can call us, you can go to our website and check these companies out. I can tell you, Clarence, that I have, because I'm from that area, have received several calls from homeowners and businesses in that area that are calling me on my cell phone to check on these companies, because they are just showing up at their house.
Right.
And these people are desperate. My son has a pine tree across his living room right now.
Wow.
And he could be an easy target. Let's get that tree off now.
Right.
But if somebody, gets on his property and they're not properly educated, they don't really know what they're doing, they don't have the proper tools, and they don't have the proper insurance and licensing, then he could be in trouble.
Right.
And so what you need to make sure is that you don't make that decision. It's easier said than done, I know.
Right.
But you've got to use common sense and make sure you deal with a company that has been properly vetted by the Better Business Bureau and the local licensing agencies. And if you're not sure, don't make a decision immediately. Take a moment and call us. We in Baton Rouge will take those calls. Companies by calling us.
It occurred to me as you were saying that, trying to put myself in someone's situation. And again, as you mentioned, well, it's easy to tell people, don't make a hasty or bad decision. Am I oversimplifying it when I think about something that you all at the Better Business Bureau of South Central Louisiana, you have hammered this over and over again. Get at least 3 estimates. It says to me, not only does it make sure that you're getting a good deal, but it also gives you the time that you may need to avoid that hasty decision in the emotion of the moment, to back up a little bit and maybe take a clearer look at what you're dealing with while you're waiting on these other 2 reputable companies to give you that estimate. Is that an oversimplification here, Carmen?
No, you're on point, Clarence. And the thing is, another thing to even bring this more, I guess, clearer, is that talking to your insurance agency. My son called him and he said, "Look, if you to get your tree off, don't pay any more than this amount of money.
Right.
If you have to pay more than that, then call me." They are there for you also, because if you end up paying, I promise you, people are going to be charged anywhere from $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, whatever dollars
Right.
to get trees down. And if their insurance doesn't reimburse them, then they've lost that money.
Right.
And they don't even know who did the work if they're properly licensed. So you need to, as simple as it sounds, you need to do your homework. And the sad thing about this, Clarence, is that probably 90% of the businesses and consumers have damage done to their home. My family has gone down there. There is not a structure that has not been touched. So these contractors not only lost their homes, they lost their businesses, but they're out there working.
Right.
The infrastructure is down, and they're saying anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks. There's no water. There's no electricity. These people are going to they're desperate because they can't get food, they can't get water, and they are going to make bad decisions. And we know that. But they really need to take a step back and think about it. And again, as you said, do not let desperation make a bad decision worse.
You know, unfortunately, Carmen, we are just getting into the heart of hurricane season as we speak. How important is preparation ahead of time? You all sent out an awesome email not so very long ago about preparation. Can you refresh our memory a little bit, some tips of things that we need to do ahead of time as far as preparation?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing you need to understand is if you're going to have to evacuate, and I think the people in Lake Charles are learning this, they're not going to be ATMs open. There's going to be very few banks open. You're not going to be able to get cash. You may not be able to get any of the food because you won't have the money available, because if they don't have electricity, they can't take credit cards. They can't take debit cards.
Right.
So what we want consumers to understand is if you're prepping for the possibility of the storm, and you should do this every year, is you should have all of your personal financial information that you need. You should have your insurance policy. You should understand your deductibles. You should make sure that you have all of that with you. That way, if you have to evacuate, you don't have to search for it.
Right.
Also need to make sure that you have cash on you in case you have to purchase things. Right now, the few companies that are open for supplies between Lake Charles and Baton Rouge, a lot of them are only taking cash because, especially in the Calcasieu Parish camp, there are no places that are available that have electricity to take anything else. But you also need to have your insurance documents, your banking documents, because if you lose your home and you can't find that, you're going to have to start from scratch. And they're going to need all of this information when you file a claim, whether it's through FEMA, whether it's through disaster assistance, whether it's through your insurance company. I know we spent the last 2 or 3 days filing these claims with our family members, and some of them weren't as prepared as they needed to be.
Right.
So it just makes the process harder.
I would imagine also that not nearly enough people have used modern technology as well as they should, meaning this would be a great time as we approach the heart of hurricane season to simply do a walk through your own home with your cell phone. Shoot video of your possessions. That way you can validate, verify, if you will, that you had these items prior to the storm and you're not just trying to, quote, pad an invoice, correct?
That's absolutely true. Our best advice is if you have to leave or evacuate, take your cell phone, take your iPad or whatever, and not only do an interior scope or video,
right,
but also do an exterior, because it helps the insurance company know what it was before and what it looks like now. And a good example, my son is one of those people who is technology savvy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a school teacher,
right,
and he did that, and he was able to upload those pictures, send it to his insurance company, and they already have a claim working. He's about to get a check for that because he took the prep work and did it early.
Right.
And so he's one of the lucky ones. But a lot of these, I have a brother in Cameron Parish, they can't even find the trailer that he lived in.
Wow.
And it's gone. They don't know where it's at. So
Right.
all of his stuff, his furniture, his clothing, all of that is gone. And if he didn't take a picture or video before, then he may have to struggle try to get the proper reimbursement.
Right.
And then we also know that people that have filed claims with FEMA are getting denied if they have homeowners insurance. And we're telling people not to panic, that they need to file with their insurance as soon as they can.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they figure out what they're going to get payment for that, then FEMA will step in. But it's going to be a very long and hard process. And another thing I want people to understand is patience. And I know that's so easy for me to say,
right,
because I'm in an air-conditioned office right now.
Right.
But patience is going to be needed, because it's going to not be weeks like Rita. It's going to be months before people are going to be sort of normal.
Finally, Carmen, how can we access this awesome and valuable information that the Better Business Bureau of South Central Louisiana has that can help so many people right now in disaster recovery and preparation?
Well, the first thing, we're putting out alerts. You can follow us on Facebook, and it's just BBB of South Central Louisiana. You can also, for those tips, and you can also go to the BBB website and check on a company, whether they're local or out of state. You can check on these companies at bbb.org. If you've been a victim of a scam, whether it's price gouging or they took your money and left, you can go to bbb.org/scam tracker, and that will allow us to look into it. And then if all else fails and you can't, you need to talk to somebody in person, you can call the Better Business Bureau at 225-346-5222.
Okay, I said errantly that would be the last question, saying finally, but in talking with you, you always have my mind active and thinking about different things, and you said something just now that I really would be remiss in my duties if I didn't do a follow-up on. None of us relish the idea of being scammed, and many times we're embarrassed about it. We are hurt from an emotional standpoint. But now, all that being said, how important is it if we find ourselves, despite our preparation, having been scammed, how important is it that we report this so that agencies like yours, law enforcement and others, can hopefully help stop some other fellow South Louisianian from falling victim as well?
Okay, let me start this by saying it doesn't matter how smart you are, it doesn't matter what your education is. In a disaster situation, Intelligent people are going to make bad decisions, and they are going to be potential victims. So don't feel bad. The second thing is it's important to file a complaint or to log a scam with the Better Business Bureau because, one, we can alert the public about it quickly, and then two, we do work with the Attorney General's Office and the Federal Trade Commission to stop these companies and local law enforcement. So getting it to us, we are a resource to make sure we get all of this information to the local authorities. So it's important, if you've been a victim, you want to educate other people to prevent them from being potential victims. So it's super important to, even if you're embarrassed, you need to let us know.
Carmen Million is the president and CEO of the Better Business Bureau of South Central Louisiana. As always, great information. Carmen, thank you so much for the time. And if you would, do me a big favor and let all of your relatives, your relations, your friends in the Lake Charles area, let them know that our resources and probably more important, our thoughts and our prayers are with them every day and every night.
I will do that. Thank you, Clarence.
You're quite welcome. Stay safe, Carmen.
Thank you.
All right, our final break of hour one. We're going to bang this one out. And, man, my heart just goes out to these folks, and I know yours does as well. And, again, those of you like me are members of the community of faith. If you don't have monetary resources to give, you can always send those prayers up. You'd be amazed at how much more you can do with just prayers than you can with money. Just saying. Final break, and we'll wrap up hour one of the Monday edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Mandafine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Mandafine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Mandafine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Exiles from what, you ask? Exiled from the radio, but now we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Monday edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. There you go, Marty. Thank you. This one. This. Yeah, that one over there. Thank you kindly, my friend. For those of you that want to help the good folks in Calcasieu Parish, the Lake Charles area, if you will, there are going to be all sorts of opportunities for us to do that here locally, and you know, it's like anything else in life. You want to know that the things you give, whether it's financial, volunteer services, other resources, what have you, you want to know that it's going to reputable people and it will be used for what it is, what its intended purpose is. We're going to make a concerted effort over the next couple of weeks to pass along to you information as far as reputable donations. Now, let me say for the record, I know that most of you already know this stuff. We have been through this so very many times here in South Louisiana that we should have it down to a science by now. But you can never have too much help, particularly in cases like this, and you can never have too many good organizations trying to help. All that being said, you heard earlier, if you were with us when we started today's show, we spent the first segment with Todd Terrell, the founder of the United Cajun Navy, and you could probably hear in the background all the heavy machinery going on and the radio chatter and the whole nine. He specifically, Todd did, mentioned Healing Place Church, the great folks out there at 19202 Highland Road. They are collecting supplies, have been, started last Friday, and starting this week, Monday, August 31st through Friday, September 4th, from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. You can drop off your donations there, and they will make sure that these donations get to the folks there in Calcasieu and the other affected areas. For the good folks in Livingston Parish, the Healing Place location there at 569 Florida Avenue Southwest, same thing. Monday, today, August 31st through Friday, September 4th, 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. there. For our friends over in Ascension Parish, the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Don't need to give you an address there. Everybody there knows where Lamar Dixon is. From 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. through Friday, September 4th. Now, it is Barnes, as in Farmer Brown's barn. Sorry, y'all, that's the best I could do on short notice. Barns number 7 and 8 are where, at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center, you can drop off those particular donations. Also, Oak Grove Nutrition on Old Jefferson Highway, they are accepting donations there as well. As always, and you already know where I'm going with this, we never ask that you give until it hurts. All we ask is that you give. And while Todd with United Cajun Navy said their folks there are adequately, as we speak, stocked up on PPE and the like, I've got to imagine there's still going to be a need there as more and more people start to return home, assess the damage, start the cleanup process. They will need that as well. I mean, we naturally kind of think, okay, water, Pedialyte, baby formula, diapers, you know, the staples. But lest we forget, it is a different day, and it's still COVID-19 time. So keep that in mind, if you would, as you go about the business of helping our fellow South Louisianians so adversely affected. Top of the hour, then hour 2 of the Clarence Bugg Show here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Welcome back as we start hour 2 of the Monday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Here's hoping that this weekend was a good one for you and yours. Hurricane Laura, COVID-19, all the other stuff combined. If not, as we like to say each and every Monday, right about this time of the day, good Lord willing, you will still be here when the next one rolls our way, and you'll have the opportunity to try it all over again. You know, there's an old adage, and y'all know me by now. You know how fond I am of adages that says it's always darkest just before dawn. There's another that is popular in the Black Baptist Church, and I would imagine churches in general. This too shall pass. And while these times are certainly unprecedented, there may be folks out there that are struggling emotionally, psychologically to deal with all of the stuff that we find ourselves faced with these days. And, you know, as a black man, almost said African American, I'm coming to despise that term. Not because of the racial connotation, but because it puts a label in front of the country I love. I don't put anything in front of America unless it's the God I love and serve. I am a God-fearing American, but nothing other than the God that I serve comes in front of my country. Just a little sidebar there. As a black man who happens to be a conservative, and as an American, as sad a commentary as it is, I've become accustomed to being lied to and insulted in politics. My late father, God bless him, would say, well, did you know this was a part of the job when you took the job? And I'd have to admit, yeah, if I didn't know up front, I found out early on. And he would say, well, okay, since you knew this ahead of time and you are still doing it, then you got two choices. You can shut up and do your job, or you can find another job. God bless you, Sarge. Love you for that. So I've become accustomed to being insulted and being lied to. But this weekend, I saw a commercial that blew me away. And again, I should know better, because the closer we get to Election Day, the worse it's going to get. But I mean, this one took it to an entirely different level. So much so that I think these people owe America an apology. Not that you'll ever get it, but decent people would. Of course, decent people wouldn't run a commercial like this to begin with. There's a commercial that if you've not seen it just yet, you're going to see it soon, because it's running everywhere. I saw it on Pluto TV. Hadn't seen it on over-the-air TV. But if it's on Pluto TV, it's probably on cable as well. This commercial by the campaign to elect Biden and Harris starts out with the shot of empty football stadiums. And you hear the announcer, the PA announcer from an empty stadium saying, "Would you join us now in singing the national anthem in honor of America?" And they kind of slowly bring up the last refrains of the national anthem. And the graphic says, "Trump put us on the sideline." And the final graphic says, "It's time we get back in the game." That commercial is so insulting, it's scary. Let's start at the very beginning. When the PA announcer from the stadium, as you have all heard if you've ever been to a football game, please stand and join us as we sing the national anthem in honor of our country. These are the same people, Democrats, that 2 weeks ago spent 4 straight nights, speaker after speaker after speaker after speaker, telling us how evil America is. Speaker after speaker after speaker after speaker telling us how racist America is. Speaker after speaker after speaker telling us how corrupt America is. But now you want us to join you in honoring America? Who honors evil, corruption, racism? Who honors that? The commercial also. Oh wait, before we go any further, I forgot this point. The people that you currently see that will not stand for the anthem, the people you currently see that will not show reverence to this country when singing the anthem, and the people that you see that will not sing the anthem. NBA, WNBA, MLB, NFL, Kaepernick, those who will not honor this country, all of them are Democrats. I'm going to let that sink in. Let that marinate a while. Join us in singing the anthem as we honor America. So are you now telling NFL, NBA, MLB, y'all need to stand, show some reverence, and honor America? See, they didn't think this one all the way through. Idiots rarely do. Unless, of course, they think you too stupid to see what they're trying to prove to you. Just saying. The commercial also says, quote, well, the graphic says, Trump put us on the sideline. Interesting. So when the president said he's going to shut down air traffic from China, and the Democrats lost their mind. Man, you can't do that. You xenophobic. You can't do that. When the president said, Americans need to go back to work, Democrats lost it. Oh, all you care about is money. You trying to kill these workers. When the president said, our kids need to be back in schools, Democrats lost their mind. Oh, you're trying to kill the children. He don't care about education. He's trying to kill the children. When the president said, we need to have college football, what did the Democrats say? Oh, you're trying to kill the athletes. You're trying to kill America's future. But Trump put us on the sideline? Then the commercial closes. It's time we get back in the game. They didn't think this thing through. Then again, they may have had a meeting and say, now, y'all know people are going to see through this. No, they won't. They're stupid. At least half of America is stupid. The other half going to see through it, but we need to energize our base. It's time we get back in the game. So, are you now saying maybe we should have football? Well, no, see, that's a metaphor, okay? So it's time we let everybody go back to work? Oh, no, it's rhetorical. You see how these folks work? Think back to the Westerns. When the Native Americans would say, speak with forked tongue. Or better yet, think about the real popular song, Neck. You're talking out the side of your neck, hoss. Of course now, this is not the first time these folks have lied to us or insulted us. Well, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Remember that one? I did not have sex with that woman. Remember that one? At this point, what difference does it make? Remember that one? Well, if you got a problem figuring out whether to vote for me or Trump, you ain't black. Remember that one? Kind of seems like a little bit of a pattern, doesn't it? And newsflash, y'all, it ain't the last time they're gonna lie to you, and it ain't the last time they're gonna insult you. I felt as though someone had just spat in my face. Trump put us on the sideline. It's time to get back in the game. Join us in singing the anthem as we honor America. Maybe you ought to play that commercial to your fellow Democrats who are out rioting, looting, burning, assaulting, burning flags, burning Bibles. Maybe you ought to play it for them. Because the rest of us, God-fearing Americans, we've been doing it all along, hoss. And we'll continue to do it, just so you know. First break of hour 2. We'll get it done. We'll talk more right where you've got it. on the Clarence Bug Show, here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With private healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready. And health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with The Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonCountryClub.com.
That's right, the Clarence Bug Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Welcome back to Hour 2 of the Monday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You got it right that time. You actually pointed to the camera. This one.
You got lucky.
I got lucky, right. White people. Good help is hard to find these days. Fake white people. Yeah, there you go. There you go. You know, guys, girls, as we go through another election season, I want you to understand something here. Anytime you tune in and grace me with the opportunity to spend some time with you, please know that my sole intention through all of this is to get you to think for yourself. I referenced in the first hour of today's show this horrific incident in Manhattan, in New York City. New York City? Get a rope. That's a whole different show for a different day. Where, in broad daylight, a guy attempts to rape a woman, and all of the folks on this subway platform was simply recording it on their cell phones. I would like to think, had those people thought for themselves, at some point in the deliberation, at some point in the thought process, they would have encountered a thought, what if that were my mom? what would I want someone to do? And that would have spurred them to action. I would like to think that at some point, if those individuals were capable of thinking for themselves, they would have realized, I owe the society in which I live more in this woman's moment of crisis, personal safety, if not her life. I owe her and this society more than witnessing this criminal act, and all I'm going to do is record it on my cell phone. Listen, y'all. I understand, and I can relate to. There are going to be moments in life that are uncomfortable. I will never forget. Many years ago, I'm working at a small radio station in New Roads, Louisiana, in Point Capee Parish. Had just gotten off the air. I was working morning drive. That's the early shift. And I'm living in Baton Rouge, working in New Roads. So I'm up at like 3-something in the morning to get up, get ready, drive the 40, 45 minutes to New Roads, do my show prep, do my air shift, then do my production work, cutting commercials for the next day, so on and so forth. I finally get off. I'm tired. I'm on the way home. I get maybe 3 blocks away from the station. And on the side of the road in front of an, quote, alternative school. For those of you that don't know, that's a school that tries to educate or service, if you will, individuals that, for whatever reason, can't get along in a regular public school setting. You've got discipline problems, you had too many fights. Okay, we're going to put you over here at this alternative school because you can't function for whatever reason in a regular setting. You're disrupting the learning process. I'm passing this school, and there are 2 young males standing out front, and they are wailing on each other like it's 40 going north. I mean, they are swinging like it's at each other like it's no tomorrow. Standing behind these 2 young men who are fighting like MMA ain't got nothing on these 2 young men, okay? Standing behind them are 3 female teachers. And I slow down as I approach it because I don't know if they're going to run out into the street swinging at each other. They're not looking. As I slow down, I turn and I made eye contact. Should have done it this way, sorry. I made eye contact with the 3 females. The look on their faces said, "Mister, please help us. We can't do anything with this." Not that the females are the weaker sex, and forget all that stupidity. It's 3 females. And it's 2 young males. "Mister, please, we need some help. I'm tired. I've been up since 3 in the morning. All I want to do is go home, get a bite to eat, relax, and decompress." But I couldn't help but see the picture of my dad in my mind. And he didn't have to say anything. He'd already done his job. "Son," that the look on his face said everything I needed to know. "Son, how could you drive by and not help those women?" So sure enough, you know, when you see your daddy's face in your mind, and when your father wore the uniform of the United States Army for almost 28 years to represent this country, you already know what he's about. So when you see his face in your mind, you know what you got to do. Pure and simple. It's two of them, young bucks, one of me, buck 45, soaking wet. But I couldn't look those women in the face and not do something. So immediately I pull over. One guy is substantially larger than myself and the kid that he's fighting. So I'm saying to myself, all right, don't get between them, because then you run the risk of getting sucker punched from both sides. Don't grab the little one, because that's going to leave the big one free. If you got to take a punch, take it from the little one, not from the big one. So I grab the bigger one from the back around the waist, making a point, grab around the waist. If there's a weapon there, you'll feel it and you'll know where to go from there. Long story short, I end up separating them, sending them in opposite directions on their way. And I'm saying to myself, my God, young men, you're already having to attend an alternative school because you couldn't get along, and I don't know you personally, but based upon what I just had to break up, this is probably why you're not in regular school and instead find yourself in the alternative school. You know what the next step is, don't you? Yep, the criminal justice system. Couldn't get along in a regular school, put you in an alternative school. Can't get along in the alternative school, so we put you out of there. You know what the next step is, right? The criminal justice system. It pains me that in this great land of ours, we have allowed ourselves to get to a point where a woman, and not just a woman, anybody, being sexually assaulted on a subway platform in front of all these people. And what do? We take out a cell phone and start shooting video. It's gut check time in America, y'all. It's gut check time. We now have people running commercials to elect the next leader of the free world. And they insult us. Why? Well, you could make the argument they're idiots. You could also make the argument maybe they think you're an idiot. And of course, there's option 3, all of the above. Now, it's one thing, y'all, for this person to be an idiot. It is something else entirely for us to let them think all of us are the same. It's gut check time, America. We've hit the snooze bar too many times. And I don't know about y'all, but I love this country too much to let it go down without a fight. The other side, we see what they're doing. Only question now is how will the rest of us God-fearing Americans respond? Just saying. Bottom of the hour break. We'll bang it out. We'll come back and continue hour 2 of the Monday edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, right where you've got it. Here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvant.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golfing Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Exiles from what you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita. He's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Welcome back as we continue to soldier our way on through hour 2 of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Recently, continuing in this vein of politics, there was a ruling handed down by the Louisiana Supreme Court that shook up, for lack of a better phrase, the mayoral race here for the mayor presidency of East Baton Rouge Parish. Metro Councilwoman Tara Wicker dealt a blow by the Louisiana Supreme Court that has now invalidated her hopes for unseating Mayor Sharon Weston Broome, and also added a new and interesting dynamic into the remaining individuals seeking that spot. Joining us to talk more about this particular ruling and the ramifications thereof is a dear friend and a guy that lives, eats, breathes, and has for quite some time now politics, Baton Rouge's very own Ulysses Bones Addison, political consultant extraordinaire. Ulysses, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing very well, Clarence, and I want to say good morning to the audience and to the people who actually looking at listening to your show, and want to say to you that yes, Baton Rouge dynamics of politics looks like it's going to be changing a little bit with that ruling.
So did that Supreme Court ruling surprise you any? And if not, why not?
Well, I didn't think the Supreme Court would actually want to hear it, and the Court of Appeals did hand down a ruling that the actual law that was clear and the Constitution Amendment to Louisiana was clear in regards to politicians having to file certain documents and everything. And so when the lower court actually ruled that she had met the qualifications and that they did not dig deep into the actual filing times and when the filing took place, you know, the Court of Appeals actually said, no, we want to review that, and that she did not meet that particular stands of when it was filed, not if it was filed at all. So I think the Supreme Court was somewhat accurate in its determination that it was not an item that rose to the level that the Supreme Court needed to hear it. But they went on to let the lower court or the Court of Appeals ruling stand.
In talking with some people, a lot of them, and obviously now erroneously so, thought that with the appeal court ruling being so close, 3-2, that there was a good possibility that the Supreme Court would hear that. That part of it didn't shock you any, Ulysses?
No, I mean, I don't think the Supreme Court really don't go into all of the cases that are put before them. I mean, and that's one of the things that they do. They do pick and choose whether they are cases that are actually challenging a ruling of law. And more than it is sometimes the one individual standing.
Right.
Because sometimes when they rule, their rules can invalidate an entire statute of law. You know, and that's what they're trying to do. What the Court of Appeals is really doing is seeing if the trial court erred in some way of application of that law. Okay. And that's more or less what they did when they had their 3-2 ruling with regards to whether or not, you know, Mrs. Wicker had actually filed her taxes in time to qualify for it. I mean, so the Supreme Court would probably be looking at, like the Court of Appeals is looking for error in application of law, then the Supreme Court is looking at whether or not the constitutional aspect of that law was applied and had not been actually applied applicably in the right way. And I'm a non-lawyer. You want to be clear to clear it up with the audience that I'm not a particular lawyer practicing law.
But you did. But you did sleep at a Holiday Inn Express recently, right?
Yeah, they left the light off for me.
So from your viewpoint, Ulysses, who does the ruling benefit more as far as the other candidates in this race are concerned?
Well, I think, in my opinion, it helps Sharon Broome a great deal. I think if Tyra Wicker was allowed to remain in the race, it was without question that a lot of the voters that would be favorable to Mrs. Broome were also those who were looking at whether or not Sharon, Mayor President Broome, had kind of lived up to her commitment to make this community a more solid and more cohesive and a community that's starting to move in the right direction.
Right.
So I think they two, between Sharon's major base and those that Tyra were actually going to probably make a strong appeal to, were more of the moderate to conservative wing of the Democratic Party and more of the moderate to conservative wing of the Republican Party. So those are the independents and the Republicans who would look at whether or not they would want to support Mayor Broome again or whether or not they want to support another candidate. And that would mean that they would have been given an option to vote either for Mrs. Broome again or for Mrs. Wicker. So I think Tyra being out of the race would greatly benefit, to a certain degree, those voters who are looking for a place to go based on what they might consider as Sharon's lack of providing services that they would deem were necessary. They are still would have been looking for another candidate. So, but I think her getting out is going to help Sharon to a small degree. I think that voting base is still going to be looking for, if they had to look for an option, they'll be looking to one of those other candidates as well, looking at them very closely. But I don't think it would just in a mass sense go to Piazza or go directly to Matt Watson or go to
Steve Carter.
Steve Carter, yes, Steve. So those are my initial analysis. I don't think that base was one that Denise Marcel was competing for.
No.
I think the Tyra's base would not be the same base that would hurt Mayor Broome in regards to the votes that would be competing for in regards to Denise Marcel or Eric Goran.
Right.
You know, so you look at that. I think Tyra's exiting the race could give another 5 to 7 to 8 to 10% of the vote that would have gone in that degree over to Mrs. Broome. You know, but again, it does not give her a clear cut, because if they were looking for an alternative to Mrs. Wicker or an alternative to Mr. Carter or an alternative to Mr. Piazza or Mr. Watson, that still would mean they know Mrs. Broome as mayor president, and that means she got to earn their vote again or earn their support. And if they were looking for another candidate from Mrs. Wicker to be their candidate, then they may want to go to another candidate anyway.
Mm-hmm. You know, the, quote, racial divide in East Baton Rouge politics, from my standpoint, my viewpoint, has gotten worse over the last 4 years. Can Mayor Broome, quote, bridge that divide, or is it too far gone at this point, Ulysses?
Well, I think that she has not provided that leadership in bridging that divide. That's exactly why it's kind of getting farther out of hand. And that is one of the reasons why I think her campaign and her efforts to be reelected is suffering. That's why we've had more candidates in a race for mayor president in real recent years than ever in the history of our parish. You know, an incumbent generally don't see 7 or 8 people running against them. They usually may see 1 or 2.
Right.
And that 1 or 2, if they're good candidates, you know, want to run a good, strong, decent campaign, would have to really have notoriety. They must be able to raise the right funding and all of that in order to be a viable candidate. But when you have across the board, you know, the Wickers, the Carters, the Piazzas, who had never saw public office before, you know, you usually don't have newcomers running against incumbents. You know,
Right. Right.
And you certainly don't have 25 years seasoned politicians. You got everybody from the whole gamut. You got Mrs. Wicker, who was termed out in terms of her political seat. You have Mr. Carter, who has been a very strong Republican state representative for many, many years in East Baton Rouge Parish. You have Mrs. Marcel, who is currently a member of this legislature, who is in the race against Mrs. Broome. So obviously the community is seeing something that is lacking, that even with regards to the cross spectrum of people who got in the race, that I think that bridging that gap is a much larger gulf than it would take just to say, well, I'm the person as the current mayor, when it seems that these problems have grown and gotten further out of hand under your leadership.
Right.
You know, so I don't think that she's clearly showed that she can do that. And I know she's going to certainly say that she can, and she can say that she has plans for what the next 4 years can mean for Baton Rouge. But it's quite obvious that either the constituents and as well as the political leaders don't believe that, because that's why so many of them are in this race, and that's why there's such numbers of people going with Ms. Marcel, going with Mr. Carter, going with Mr. Piazza, as well as Mr. Watson.
Right.
You know, so you have all those people now giving an alternative to this leadership that we currently have in the mayor president's office.
Finally, Ulysses, how much weight do you give to COVID-19 and the fact that this is not going to be your traditional campaign? You can't get out, knock on doors, hold fundraisers the way you normally would. Does this kind of give the mayor, as the incumbent, a little bit of a leg up versus the competition because of COVID-19 and all the restrictions that come along with campaigning in that regard?
Well, yes, I think in a certain sense, notoriety by name gives you that. But the problem with that is that there can be a reverse of the impact. Because we've known you for 4 years, we may be looking for an alternative, and you're not able to make your case either as why you should be for your 4 more years. Why you should, because now that's the reason I'm saying, with having all those people enter the race like that in a COVID environment, certainly they can't get their message out. But if the people who've already recognized you for the last 3.5 or 3 3/4 of a year of your term say, well, I don't think she can provide that. So then now as the voter, they go in the voting booth and say, well, you didn't make your case to me either of why you should be reelected.
Right.
So now I have to go in and say, I need to pick someone else. Who should I pick? And certainly you're right about the COVID, and you can't do your traditional campaigning of going door to door, meeting with people in forums, going doing the debates and doing all those things there. But that also loaned itself to say, wow, I may not like what I have, so therefore an alternative may be better, even though I don't know a whole lot about one versus the other. What I do know is I'm not pleased with what I currently have, you know, and so you need to also make your case when that many people run against you. You know, you need to be able to say, well, you know, I'm the incumbent, and I deserve 4 more years based upon these are the things I've accomplished. And if that is not clearly delineated to the voters, then they may feel, well, you know, maybe you're not the right person to hold this position. You know, and those politicians who are running, who are currently in public office, those who have previously served, like Mr. Carter, they have a constituency base too that says, I know Steve, I know Mrs. Wicker, I know Mrs. Marcel, and I know Mr. Watson, who currently is in the council position currently.
Right.
So all of those voters who already know their current representative, their current state city council person, they may vote for just that person because they've been affiliated with them for all those years, not based on what their platforms are, but based upon, I know them, I know their commitment to government, I know they're working in my community. So there again, all those votes can come away from an incumbent. And under normal condition where you have a person, for example, like Mr. Piazza, who has no track record, who has not been before the public before, you have an E. Eric Garrett, who has not been before the public in terms of public service before, it's harder for them to overcome that COVID than it is for the Denise Marcel and the Tyra Wickers that got put out of this race. It's harder for them to overcome the lack of touching the voter and putting their platform before the voter than it is for Steve Carter, who has a base, and for Denise Marcel, who has a base, and for Tyra Wicker, who has a base. And when people have voted for you for the last 12 years, they may vote for you just because they know who you are and they know how you stood up for them or stood for their issues in the past, whether it's 12 years or 15 years or 18 years. So that can also help and hurt. And you're right, we're not running a pre-COVID environment yet. We've never had this before. We don't know what the level of turnout is going to be.
Right.
So the lower the turnout can benefit Mr. Carter, because he may have the Republican base behind him, and he may have his constituent base that he served for all those years behind him. Well, the lower that number is, it could very well benefit anyone who has a solid constituent base behind them. And if the number gets higher, then you need to make an appeal to the voters as well, even though you're the incumbent.
Right.
Because, incumbents sometimes don't pick up that base again, and if people feel that you are not the person to lead us. We saw that when I was serving on the council with Mayor Bobby Simpson. Mayor Holden defeated him, and he was the incumbent, but generally again, and that was where the mayor can get out and talk about his policies and everything else, but the voters decided we didn't think we wanted the incumbent to lead us for the next 4 years. And after that, Mayor Holden served for 12 years.
Right.
And even though he had a couple of challenges, they were not serious threats. We've already validated that most of these people are viable candidates, that while they're not able to raise the kind of money they were doing on a traditional campaign, they're able to put their message out there with their constituent groups, and it may have some level of an effect. If we get pushed to a runoff, then there's no question the mayor's going to have to make their case or her case as to why she needs to be reelected to that same constituent base with the limited ability to contact voters.
Right.
Because usually when incumbents get pushed to a runoff, they better have a very good platform in the general election, because people already know who you are, and we didn't vote for you in the primary election, and now you got to try to make your pitch to why we should give you another term. So it works both ways in the political arena. I mean, I've won elections, I've lost them. The reality of it is that you got to take each election on its own merit, and you got to really talk to the voters according to where they are today. Today we have a lot of civil unrest around the country. We have a lot of social unrest around the country, and we want to know who can pull us together, who can pull these communities together. And in some cases, not to talk about our current chief of police, we kind of have a part of the district and a part of the community that don't have confidence in that. And when you don't have confidence in the person in those environments, in those positions, you can end up creating a vacuum that now the voters don't feel comfortable. And so that's why I say it's COVID can go either way. It can put a big question mark as to, well, you're the incumbent and you don't have your challengers to having the ability to go and wide sell their campaign platforms. But sometimes you got to make your case too, because if you don't make your case, the voters can say, we know you. The social unrest that got out of hand. We've had these issues in the city of Baton Rouge. We've done this, we've done that. And you got to talk to the core of your constituent base to re-galvanize them. But you also got to appeal to people that did not support you in the first first time you ran for your first term,
Right.
and seeing if you were able to re-galvanize that vote. That Mayor Holden was very successful in his first 4 years of pulling a whole new constituent group over to his side.
Yep.
It don't appear that Mayor Broome has been successful in doing that. You know, so while you might have beat Senator Bodie White 4 years ago, you might not have done a holistic job in bringing some of Bodie White's supporters over to your side, is what Mayor Holden was successful in doing. So he didn't have a great challenge, and he won very easily his second term. You know, so all of that takes into consideration. The COVID environment might not be good for you. You know, it might not play out well for you. You know, because you need to make your case to these voters.
At the
And
end,
your second term did not allow you the ability to do that.
At the end of the day, that's all the voters are concerned about. Ulysses Addison, political consultant, a dear friend. I love that about you. You always call them like you see them. We'll be checking in with you as we get closer to election, my friend.
Thank you, Clarence. Enjoy doing it and love to do it again.
Thank you, my friend. Stay safe, Ulysses. All right, final break. We're a little bit past overdue. We'll bang this out, come back, put a big old bow on this puppy, and we'll wrap up the Monday edition of the Clarence Bugg Show here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Jaguar Nation, we need your help in masking up Louisiana.
Mask help us slow the spread of COVID-19.
During this time, we must continue to wear a mask, wash our hands, and practice social distancing.
It's important that we continue to abide by the CDC's guidelines to stop the spread.
Jaguar Nation, we challenge you to mask up. Go Jags!
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Mandafine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Mandafine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Mandafine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Welcome back for the final segment of today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. If you've not yet done so, make it a point to check out, what did they call it, Marty? Two busy blondes?
I say busy.
I think that's what he said, two busy blondes. My dear friends, Hurricane Betsy Barnes and Dr. Kay Solar. Check them out on Rocket Right. They're up and running now, and they would appreciate you giving them the opportunity to share some time and some valuable information with you as It's like we truly have gotten the band back together again. The Exiles, Bill Profita, and my man Kevin Gallagher in the slot. Same bat time, same bat channel, tomorrow and Thursday, and Rocket Right as well. Pelican, the rest of the folks around here better watch their backs. Pelican is exploding with locally generated content. Louisiana folks talking about Louisiana issues that affect Louisiana people. And at the end of the day, one thing I've learned after 40 years of broadcasting here in Louisiana, my folks, Louisiana folks, we care about what's happening on the West Coast, the East Coast, up north, whatever. We care what's happening in America, but we want to talk about what's happening in Louisiana. That's just who we are. It's what we do. And Pelican has taken some strides in that regard that are monumental. And at the end of the day, it's better for Louisianians. And that's what Burton Allen and the whole crew, that's what they're all about. Guys, girls, a bit of a heads up in case you haven't heard. Tragically, of the 14 people who have lost their lives since Hurricane Laura came ashore in storm-related fatalities, half of them, 7, at least it was when we went on air today, have died from carbon monoxide poisoning and the improper use of generators. It's, I can't imagine anything more terrible for a family member, a loved one, to know that their family member / loved one made it through something as horrific as Hurricane Laura, only to end up dying from carbon monoxide poisoning from a generator. It's, you know, in life there are lots of things that are beyond our control, things that, you know, we have no control over them. English teachers, forgive me in 3, 2, 1. This ain't supposed to be one of them. Follow the manufacturer's instructions and guidelines, and let's just hope that it won't happen again to any fellow Louisianian. My time's up, y'all, and I gotta go. But this day, more than ever, I give it to you. America, you're right. We're not perfect, but doggone it, for my money, it's the best there is. And God knows there is no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you realize he loves you, right? And I hope you know, even if it's in the smallest of terms, that I do too. Either way, then again, ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. We'll see you Wednesday. God bless.